Hello Sylvia. Your topic, anxiety. As you can see, it's a gray winter day here in Canada. But it all comes down to perception, our experience, being the master of our own experience. So to answer your question, anxiety. Again, this is going to be more heavily opinionated than a lot of my other videos, because I do have certain opinions on how I feel, my perception of the way things are with the medical profession and what I've learned from our own abilities, but I'll still try to keep it not too jaded, but of course my own opinions are in here as well. And ultimately though, the best psychiatrist, doctor, and guru is you. So ultimately it's you, what you decide and what you feel. So I'll say that right off the bat. So this is just food for thought. So, first of all, anxiety, meaning to be anxious. Why wouldn't you be? We live in heaven here. However, our resistance to it is creating this man-made world that's just chaos in this peaceful heaven. But our society, it's chaos. It's madness, it's frightening, it's beautiful, it's incredible, it's all these things. It's the ultimate roller coaster ride. Of course you'd feel anxious. There's nothing wrong with you. If you're having any problems you might deem psychological, even if it's an extreme condition, there's a reason it's happening to you. So we have to stop thinking that our bodies are doing something wrong, because they're not. These bodies respond to how we feel, respond to the environment as well, but it's how we perceive and shape it based on what we're seeing, because it all comes down to us, our own perception. Two people have the same experience, but if somebody perceives it as wonderful and the other person sees it as hell, it's the same experience. Why did they experience it differently? Because of their perceptions. So we are so much more powerful in shaping. So it's important not to feel like a victim as well, because that's what you're shaping. So there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your mind. There's nothing wrong with that you're anxious. But you might see there's something wrong with the approach that's not working for you, and that's also building anxiety. So when people have these problems, they go to the system, they go to psychiatry, to the medical profession. Wonderful people there, and there are pluses to be had in these systems, of course. But if we really pull back, if we see in our own lives, see what these shells are capable of, and we pull back and see what's really else is going on in the world outside of the modern medical system, as well as look at it for what it is and what it's become. Wonderful people in it. But it is a system, and it's heavily controlled now. Both psychiatrists and the medical profession are pretty much controlled by the drug companies. We're a highly toxified and medicated society. It's common sense. We weren't meant to live this way. How did we ever get along before? People went through things we can't even imagine. They went through wars, they went through changing continents, they went through environmental things, they went through things that just, if you look back in history, we couldn't even imagine. How did they get through all this? We can't get through a day. We get a flat tire and we need to take some medication and calm down, and you know we lose it over all this stuff. So how is this? Why is this possible that, you know, we have it so much better, really, if you look at it? And our troubles collectively as a whole generally don't although they're intense in other ways, and threatening our very survival, of course, is the most extreme. And definitely, you know, there's a reason we should feel anxiety about that. But still, if you look at it, in our lives, we're so blessed. We're always blessed, but we're so much more blessed and go through such less challenges, or less extreme challenges, than what humans used to have to do. And they did it without any medications. How did they get through it? So the medications, they're just guessing. That's just the way it is. They're guessing. If you listen to your doctor when he'll say, well, that's not quite working, let's lower this and let's try this, and they get samples, they get kickbacks. It's medicating us is not the way. We know this, and it's going back into the environment because our system isn't our water purification system isn't meant to get all these toxins out. So all these medications are also being peed back into the collective water and drank again. So collectively, it's not good for us to be medicated. Individually, obviously, it's not. And it's interfering with the body can do anything. These shells can do anything. So we shouldn't be messing around throwing chemicals in there. And we see a lot of times the chemicals are this chemical for the side effects of that one. It's just this nasty chain of events. And most of the time it's for numbing. It's for numbing something or preventing the body from doing something it's naturally doing, either in reaction to how it feels or to where the soul is at that particular point, or a combination of that, and maybe things going on in the outer world, its environment. There's a reason it's going through that, and we have to stop interfering with that. If I had my way, I see a world where the medical profession is reduced to triage, where they are helpful. When you're in an emergency situation, somebody's in a car crash or someone needs to be revived, then by all means. But this long-term care, we can see there is no long-term care. It's long-term making us sicker and feeding a system, a corporate system. And so we see it everywhere. Everybody on antidepressants, and they're horrible. We see this in different ways, and they're so addictive. And then we get situations where people are just, and I did want to say this, if you don't really resonate with what I'm saying and you still believe in the system somewhat and still feel you're going to go through the system, you know, not my recommendation, but if you're going to, then at least get a second opinion. Because a lot of times we have doctors that are over-medicating. In one particular case, there was somebody who told me just at the age of 14 from only diagnosed with anxiety, not even a major condition. Just anxiety is still the only diagnosis since 14, and on a slew of medications since 14, and several of them conflicting, well, I wouldn't say conflicting, but it seems to me they would conflict in one way or another, but I should say multiple antidepressants. So not just one, but several antidepressants, and then some other ones. So heavily medicated at the age of 14. The answer is clear to me, but again, you got to search your own soul. But if you're not ready to, if you're someone like I just described, then and you're not still ready to resonate with what I'm saying, that these shells can heal ourselves, and willing to really make the choice to just start changing everything you're putting in your body and in your mind and your thoughts and all of it that affects how we feel. If you're not quite there yet, then at the very least get a second opinion. If your doctor is drugging the hell out of you, go get a couple of their opinions and see if you can find a doctor who's going to do less medications, or maybe go try to focus more on nutrition and other things. And then there's this whole other world of alternative medicine too that a lot of people are ignoring. So there's also that medicinal, natural stuff if you want to get into that. Crystal healing and all these other things. If you want to get into that stuff, great. For me, it's simple. Make a choice to be happy. Be happy. Stop putting crap in. Reduce it. But just be happy, and the body responds just by really making the choice. So if you that's to me the ultimate one where it's all going to go anyways. So the sooner you focus on that, focus on the love, the self-love, and wanting a different life, you will create a different life. So I would say do that first and foremost. It can't really be avoided. If you're not going to make the choice to be happy, then you know, you're going to be in a victim state, and you're going to spin in thoughts, and you're going to also be toxified, and your brain won't be able to sort stuff out anyways, because you're all these drugs, and you're putting yourself in a victim mentality of the system that's not working for you. Is it working for you? Well, join the club. It's not working. So do what you feel is best, of course. At the very least, you can get a second opinion. You can see what else is out there. But really, start reducing yourself to drugs is what I would do. I don't take drugs of any kind. You know, the odd aspirin once in a blue moon, but even that I stay away from. The body doesn't need it. The body doesn't need any of this stuff. It's just constant. All it is, if we're talking psychiatry, if we're talking the brain, if we're talking physical things, cancer, whatever it is, or other allergies, it doesn't matter what it is. Anything, if we're putting a drug in, none of our drugs really cure anything. Not really. I mean, there might be a few, but we don't really cure. What it is always covering up a symptom that we don't want to have. And symptoms are nature. We know we have to take a crap because our stomach goes, we get a pain, you know, whatever. We realize we haven't had one in a while, and it's the body's way of saying you need to take care of this. We see it in nature and all things. We see it everywhere. Symptoms are pointers. They're a natural part of the process. And if we accept that and go through it and trust the body and live a happy life and try to, you know, not over-toxify it if we can, over-toxify it in the mind with toxic thoughts, toxic entertainment, toxic foods. Just give it a hand, give the body a hand, but focus on being happy and self-love, and the body will, or it can even be the mind. It's showing us things we need to work through. It's doing what it needs to do. We have to trust it. We have to trust it. And so all these medications for all these things are just covering up, numbing an experience or covering something up, and then covering up symptoms for other drugs, you know, etc., etc. But it's all just cover-ups. So we can keep hiding in the medical, we can keep hiding in the drugs, or we can start trusting these things and realize how blessed we are and how amazing these things are and how we can create our own experience and be the master. So it starts with a choice. Make the choice to be happy. Really start making that your every goal. Truly happy, not just content. Happy. Make the choice that you're going to start to really love yourself. You're going to really start to explore yourself. You're going to get excited about life. And you're going to start reducing things. And don't do it all overnight. Just baby step it. Whatever feels natural. If this feels, oh, I could do this right now, then yeah, I'll stop that. You know, if it's, oh, salt, I can do salt, then yeah, do salt. And then maybe you'll move on to caffeine, or maybe you'll move on to reducing medications or whatever. You know, baby steps. But constantly at it. Not just a couple and then hold off and wait for everything to change, but just make that your daily business. Your daily business to be happy. And the answers, your solutions will come, whether it be in the medical profession or outside or whatever. But first be happy. Make the choice, be happy. Because you deserve it. You're an amazing being. You're an amazing being.